Events in recent days underscore the stagnant, destructive thinking that still drives the policies of most government leaders today. Can a new U.S. president constructively break the mold the way Ronald Reagan did more than 4 decades ago? Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to better navigate these turbulent times. The Daily News provides grim evidence of the intellectual rut of all too many free world governments. This stuck-in-the-mud approach is fueling extremist political turmoil and endangering the security of the world. The French far-left alliance that came in first in Sunday's parliamentary elections is demanding a new wealth tax, a 90% income tax rate on high-income earners, and a binge of new government spending. Experience shows repeatedly that all this will result in a flight of people and money and a shrinking economy. Since France can't print euros, who will buy the bonds to finance government deficits, which are already high? Here in the U.S., President Biden proudly proclaims that Ukraine will be getting historic new help in its war to save itself from Putin. Turns out the highlight is several Patriot missile systems. Big deal. The package isn't nearly enough to turn the tide in that war, but it's typical Biden. No sensible long-term strategy here, or for that matter, anywhere else when it comes to national security. Federal Reserve boss Jerome Powell testifies on Capitol Hill with hints of interest rates to come. But he once again displays the destructive, wrong-headed approach on inflation, which in the mind of most economists is a vibrant economy. So Powell mutters about the need to have the economy balance demand and supply. Memo to Powell: free markets will take care of that if you would let it. Instead, the Fed, like other central banks, tries to control the pace of economic activity by manipulating interest rates. The cause of monetary inflation is a currency losing value, usually by creating too much of it. Yet the idea of currency stability as their aim never crosses their minds. And where did this goal of 2% inflation come from? Turns out it originated from an off-the-cuff remark by the New Zealand finance minister in the mid-1980s. No studies were done, yet this has become wholly writ among central banks. On defense, our military procurement system is a stifling, bureaucratic horror show where cost overruns are damagingly endemic and deliveries are years late. Yet no radical overhaul is contemplated. Most governments still adhere to enormously costly, we're talking about trillions of dollars here, and ultimately ineffectual alternative energy programs that drain money from productive uses. Yet they resist promoting 2 clean energy sources, natural gas and nuclear power. Cutting tax rates still remains an anathema to most of today's policymakers. The 1970s were an inflation-ridden, stagnant decade, where, amazingly in retrospect, the Soviet Union was seen as the rising power and the U.S. in decline. President Ronald Reagan turned all of that around with big tax cuts, deregulation, a curb on domestic spending, and a massive military buildup. He achieved what almost all experts thought impossible: a decisive Cold War victory over the Soviet Union. Our next president must take a similar approach, and that commander-in-chief will not be Joe Biden. I'm Steve Forbes. Thanks for listening. Do send in your comments and suggestions, and look forward to being with you soon again.